E3 is great because we get to see trailers and gameplay for big upcoming games, but even better are the surprises that leave us mind-boggled, like The Lost Guardian that suddenly returned, or a new Spider-Man game from Insomniac Games. In this episode of the Your Game Show, I want to take a look at some big potential surprise announcements that will blow us away at E3 2018. So they are unlikely, but not extremely impossible. So if you enjoyed that, then a like would be super appreciated, and let's go! One of the most intriguing demos at the PlayStation 4 reveal event was Deep Down, a new action multiplayer RPG from Capcom that promised amazing graphics and great co-op action. But after the impressive reveal, it went kind of quiet pretty fast. We heard at Tokyo Game Show the same year, so 2013, that the game would be free to play, and that we could expect an open beta in the summer of 2014. Well, the beta was then delayed to 2015 in Japan, but never saw the light of day. The last news we got regarding this dungeon crawler type of game was that the development time scale has been extended to appeal long-term players, and that was in early 2015. Yet Capcom still renews the trademark and they still own it right now. They also never said that they cancelled the game, so I still think it could return, and that would be a huge surprise and mind-blowing indeed. I mean, it did not only look amazing, especially back in the day, the idea of hunting big dragons and collecting loot with friends to buy awesome new things in your futuristic apartment. Yes, weirdly enough, the game was set in the future where you could teleport to this dungeon in a knight uniform. Anyway, it always sounded great and looked awesome as well. So having it return would really be an oh my god moment for sure, because nobody will see that coming. And it does not seem impossible. Capcom plans to release 2 major titles before April 2019. So while one will probably be the rumored Devil May Cry 5 that also recently showed up on an Australian reseller, and I totally see that follow the Resident Evil 7 and Monster Hunter World announcement to release schedule being announced at the Sony show at E3 and then releasing the following January. But Capcom still has another game then as well, and I don't think that it's Mega Man 11 because that's not a major game selling at only $30 on Amazon, so there must be something else. And Capcom is already seeing major success with a multiplayer games as a service type of game with Monster Hunter World. It was their best selling game ever in less than 2 months after its release. So bringing back Deep Down would totally make sense. Even if it's not going to release before April 2019, because that could also be the Resident Evil 2 remake that Capcom already confirmed to be working on, and that was back in 2015. They must have had enough time to work on it to release it before April 2019, you would think. Maybe they will release a demo directly after showing it at one of the press conferences during E3, just like they did with Resident Evil 7, and that totally worked out for them. Devil May Cry 5, Resident Evil 7 Remake, or Deep Down, Capcom has the announcements to blow us away at E3 2018. Just like a teaser for the Elder Scrolls 6. I mean, come on, Bethesda is sitting on a gold mine and they don't want to mine it. And even not tease it, while we do know that they are working on it, and even if it's still far away. So let's say it's like 3 years away, maybe a little longer, but Bethesda would give an update trailer with some snippets of gameplay every year during their press conference. Way more people would be interested in their show. And they might kick it off this year. I mean, we know they want to release 2 big games before the Elder Scrolls 6, with Fallout 76 likely being one of them, and the other being a rumored new IP, Starfield, a sci-fi open world RPG. So over on the website Polygon, they think that Bethesda will go crazy this year and show everything it has, including games further from release. Last year, The Evil Within 2 and Wolfenstein 2 The New Colossus headlined their press conference, and both titles released a few months after that, but now it looks like this will change. So while I could see Fallout 76 release at the end of this year, I mean, Bethesda still has no new games planned for this year, and Fallout makes a lot of sense. Also, looking at the way they rolled out Fallout 4 from announcement to release, it's very similar to this Fallout game, but Bethesda will have more titles to show off than Fallout and Rage 2 that was of course already announced as well. Over on Twitter, the marketing boss at Bethesda notes that there are still a ton of surprises left because someone says, oh, no more surprises left after the Fallout 76 announcement, while he says far from it. Implying that we might indeed see more games from Bethesda and also Bethesda Game Studios, of course the people behind the Elder Scrolls and Fallout series. I got to be honest though, if I was a betting man, I don't think the Elder Scrolls 6 will show up just yet, maybe next year, because it might overshadow all the other games, especially if they have Starfield, a new IP to show as well, because then everyone will be focused on the Elder Scrolls 6, while Bethesda wants of course a great spotlight for their new IP. But still, I mean, an Elder Scrolls 6 teaser trailer just with a logo would already be enough to excite everyone and maybe bring the whole press conference to a better level, so maybe people are excited about the other announcements as well. But I think it's more likely that we will see this new IP, and that would already be really interesting and mind-blowing as well. A new IP from the Fallout and Elder Scrolls creators. That is big for sure. For Microsoft, only their own games would not be enough. I mean, a new Gears is expected, even 3 games according to the Polygon article I already touched on a little earlier in this video. It would be a strategy Halo Wars style of game, a true sequel, and also a Battle Royale Gears game. Forza Horizon 4 seems like a safe bet and maybe a Halo tease, but those are expected. But I think mind-blowing announcements could be coming from the third party, and then I especially mean third party deals. There are already some big games we can count on, like Anthem will likely show up just like it did last year. I can see Assassin's Creed Odyssey being shown for the first time during the Xbox show. The rumored Splinter Cell game could be there as well. Cyberpunk 2077, the new game from the Witcher developers, is rumored to be there. So a ton of potential new titles could be shown during the Xbox show, but since they will also be on the PlayStation 4, there needs to be something that benefits Microsoft as well. Sure, some exclusive content like Sony has with Destiny could really be in the cards for Anthem, but I mean a more stellar announcement. Do you remember Gamescom 2014, where Microsoft announced that Rise of the Tomb Raider would be an exclusive to their platform that later turned out to be an exclusive for 1 year? That was really huge. And what if it happens again during E3 2018, but for another game? I mean, PlayStation is outselling Xbox One 2-to-1 according to some estimates from EA. If Microsoft wants to make a big splash, it will need something to compete with Sony's impressive lineup of exclusive games. I mean, throwing something out there, but for example the new Splinter Cell that is rumored, what if that launched first on Xbox? That would be really huge. And I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities. Ubisoft was not very happy with the sales of the recent Splinter Cell Blacklist that only sold 2 million copies after 3 months, while they wanted 5 million copies during that time. So it will be pretty risky to bring this franchise back. It's not a guaranteed success. So some sort of deal with Microsoft could make things way more realistic for Ubisoft. And I don't think this will mean that the new rumored Splinter Cell game will be an Xbox exclusive. I mean, that would be huge, but I think it's unlikely. But maybe having an exclusive window or a ton of content that is exclusive to Xbox is not out of the realm of possibility. Or I got another idea, because we also got of course the Xbox Games Pass, Microsoft's Netflix style of service, where you for $10 a month get access to all the games on this service, including new Microsoft published games like State of Decay 2 and Sea of Thieves. I mean, it's already huge that it will include the upcoming Halo and Gears of War game, but what if Microsoft could include a big third-party title on the service day one as well? And maybe that game will then also release on the PlayStation 4, but there you will only have the option to pay full price for it, while on the Xbox One you can also pay for an Xbox Games Pass subscription instead. Having Splinter Cell on this Xbox Games Pass at the launch of the game would mean that Microsoft paid a good amount to Ubisoft, because of course Ubisoft will then sell less copies for $60 on the Xbox One, but it would also mean that it's less risky since Ubisoft already got a good amount of money from Microsoft to do this deal. And you can also look at it this way: now more people will play this new Splinter Cell game, so Ubisoft can then capitalize on that with ongoing updates and microtransactions. I think it would be a huge get for Microsoft and a huge mind-blowing announcement, and while I think Splinter Cell would make sense for this type of deal, it could totally be something else as well. Again, Microsoft needs to come out swinging and show why the Xbox is a better choice than the PlayStation 4. Announcements like these would really help. Another thing I thought about is Battlefield 5. We already know Microsoft has the partnership with that game, so at the beginning of every trailer you see the Xbox logo. But what if this deal goes deeper than that? What if Microsoft got an exclusive mode, a Battle Royale mode for Battlefield 5 only on Xbox One? With the Battle Royale modes being the biggest thing that is going on in gaming right now, and Battlefield really being a series where such a mode could work, I think it's interesting that we still don't know if there will be a Battle Royale mode in Battlefield 5. Rumors from Eurogamer suggest that they are testing one, but what if the reason for them not talking about it is an exclusive deal with Xbox? That they can't talk about it yet because Microsoft wants to announce it at their Xbox show. That would again be a huge get. Battle Royale in Battlefield 5, a launch exclusive maybe, or an exclusive that you can only play it on an Xbox platform. Again, it might all seem unlikely, but that was Rise of the Tomb Raider as an Xbox exclusive as well, and that happened. So Microsoft has to make a big move to get some eyes on it, and some sort of exclusive deal with a third party would really help. We already know that Sony will have a very solid lineup at E3 2018 with The Last of Us Part 2, Death Stranding, Ghost of Tsushima and Spider-Man PS4. So we will see a deep dive on those games. They will probably show gameplay for all of them and they will be impressive for sure. But the question is, will they bring mind-blowing moments as well, like they did in 2015 and 2016? So I already mentioned Capcom, and I totally think that will be good to cause some fire during the Sony press conference. Just like last year, because if you remember, Monster Hunter World that was announced last year was one of the only surprises during the Sony press conference. But there are way more possibilities for mind-blowing moments at the Sony show. On the PlayStation blog, they note they will have stellar announcements from third-party and independent developers. So, as I noted in a Sony prediction video, I think that Bluepoint, the studio responsible for the Shadow of the Colossus remake that launched this year, and the Uncharted Nathan Drake collection, will totally be there to showcase their next project. My money is on a Demon's Souls remastered, but we will see. There have also been some rumors that we will get a new Crash Bandicoot game in 2019. Yes, a brand new game. We got a manager from a merchandise company spilling the beans on that one. An announcement at E3 worked out really well for Crash in 2016. So if Activision maybe wants to release a real next Crash game in June 2019, so that would be the same month as the Insane Trilogy, and that was, by the way, the best-selling remastered collection in the history of the PlayStation 4. Yes, Activision made a ton of bank on that re-release. Anyway, I think an announcement at this year's E3 could totally make sense if they want to release this new game next year, although they of course may want to focus on Spyro instead. Sony will likely have the Shadows Die Twice announcement, the new game from the From Software developers, of course the guys behind the Soul series. A new leak suggests that it's a Soul type of game that is more open and a combination of Bloodborne and an old PS2 game, Kuon. And I already noted this in my Sony E3 2018 prediction video as well, but this leak was posted just a few days ago on 4chan and could be real. Either way, it will be big, an announcement, and might surprise depending on what it ends up being. So where Microsoft does really need to show exclusive content and will focus on big third-party deals as well, I think we already know what Sony has in store. And like I already said, I think we will be blown away by the gameplay they will show, but they could make it even better by also blowing us away regarding the release date. And I know Sony kind of moved away from announcing release dates too soon, but I think they could surprise us with having games ready earlier than we might think. That The Last of Us Part 2 gets a spring 2019 window during the show, or that Ghost of Tsushima is a March 2019 game. That would be 5 years after the previous game from Sucker Punch, so it could really be enough time. Or that Death Stranding is a 2019 game after all, implying that we will have more PlayStation 4 exclusives before the console lifecycle ends, because it looks like a PlayStation 5 launch is going to be in fall 2020. So I already touched on this rumor on Twitter where Polygon said they heard that a Horizon sequel and Bloodborne 2 were also in development, but that they did not think they would show it at E3 2018. I mean, I agree. Sony has no rush to show these games because they already got 4 big titles to dive deep on and that people can't wait to see more of. But since we're talking about mind-blowing announcements, Bloodborne 2 or for me especially Horizon Zero Dawn 2 would really make me go crazy, probably yell, yet I think I will have to save that scream for at the end of this year or likely next year's E3. It's funny to see people say, oh, everyone already announced all their stuff before E3, there will be no more announcements left. Well, this year is no different than the previous years, and I'm sure there are still a ton of unannounced games and a lot of gameplay reveals that will leave us with an open mouth. Next week I will be in LA playing a ton of the E3 2018 games, including Assassin's Creed Odyssey, bring you a ton of gameplay and info, so totally keep an eye out on the channel for that. Follow me on social media at JorRaptor on Twitter and at JorRaptor on Instagram. So I will be posting a ton of photos there, a ton of other things from my adventure in LA. So if you don't want to miss anything, hit me up on social media as well. In terms of the Your Game Show, next week E3 has already begun. We have Microsoft and Bethesda on next Sunday. So I will be covering those as much as I can with, of course, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I expect that to be at Microsoft. So want to do a ton of coverage on that. Then the week after that, I will have landed just from LA in Amsterdam. So no episodes for the next 2 weeks, but after that we will pick up the pace and return to the weekly Sunday Your Game Show schedule. But in the meantime, there will be a ton of E3 2018 coverage and way more videos on the channel. So it will be a good time. Hope you subscribe to stay up to date on everything. Of course, if you haven't already, drop a like to support the channel and I will speak to you next time. E3 is close. I can't wait. Hope you too. Goodbye.